Okay, so I have another book review. The name of this book, I guess this has been on like the bestsellers look for a really long time. I just read this on my plane ride back to Japan. It is called A Long Way Gone. It is by Ishmael Bain. I hope I'm saying that right. But this book has been around for a very, very, very long time, and I just recently read it on the plane. It's a story. Just tell you very quickly. It's a story about a little boy. He was, who was actually living in Sierra Leone with his family, and because of civil unrest, he was kind of displaced, and he ends up becoming a child soldier. Ends up losing his family and becoming a child soldier. So it talks about his experience being in this army and how he had to, unfortunately, like do a lot of bad things and kill a lot of people, and because he's a child, and war and murder is traumatic. He talks about a lot about his like not only emotional like response. He talks about his physical response in the book. He talks about having like migraines, and he's just not sleeping well, and I would imagine that's all the result of like just being traumatized, being a child soldier. I was reading this and I just remember it's a very good book. It's just very depressing. And I don't want to say that as very dismissive of this guy's story, because I mean it's an incredible story, and he ends up actually coming to live in New York City with someone I believe who worked in the UN, who wanted to. He came initially to New York City to kind of tell his story about being a child soldier, and what that meant, or excuse me, like what's exactly happening in his country. And so I don't even know where I was going with that statement. I don't want to come off as like, oh my God, this is so depressing, I don't want to read this. It's not that, because I absolutely feel like people need to be aware of what kind of awfulness is going on in the world, and I just don't feel like any child should ever have to be put in this position. But unfortunately, like that, this is the reality of the situation. So I don't want to be like, oh my God, I don't want to read this. I'm glad that I read it. It was very sobering. And it just made me feel like bad about things that I complain about here in the States. I have a very blessed life, and I don't see these types of awful things, because I don't live in places like this. So I think sometimes it's easy to be dismissive when you don't see it. And I don't want to come off as that way. But yeah, he talks a lot about, how it's, it's more of it is a memoir, and it's kind of just setting up what Sierra Leone was like at the time, and like what him and his other friends had to go through. And yeah, it is. It's just it's heartbreaking, and I just don't want this for anyone. But I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if this is a book that I will read again, solely based on the fact that I have a threshold of like sad things, even, and this is just one of them. But I do definitely think more people should read it. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So okay, thank you for listening to this. Talk to you later. Bye.